At 4:15 a.m. local time on October 5th, 2025, something impossible is unfolding in the heart of Russia. A dozen unidentified objects are heading toward Nizhny Novgorod, traveling at 250 kilometers per hour, more than 800 kilometers beyond any active front line. They simply should not be there. At a nearby VHF-N EBOM radar station outside Arzamas, a Russian operator stares at his screen as the system classifies the intermittent contacts as atmospheric anomalies. But anomalies do not fly in a coordinated formation, and they definitely do not maintain a direct attack vector toward Russia's fourth largest oil refinery. At 70 kilometers from the target, the radar profiles suddenly shift as the objects begin their terminal descent. The data network finally forwards a firing solution to the commander of a Panzer S-1 battery. The classification is marked as low confidence, yet it is chilling. 12 UJ-26 Loot-G attack drones. There are 28 seconds until impact. Protocol dictates waiting for confirmation from the acquisition radar. Instinct, however, screams, "Fire now!" The commander's finger tightens on the launch button. Instinct wins. 4, 5, 7, 6. Sylvan missiles blast out of their tubes, accelerating to Mach 3.5. But then he sees the drone's response. It is not a simple evasive maneuver. It is a programmed fragmentation. 2 Elliott G drones break formation simultaneously, diving into chaotic vectors and reducing their thermal signature to the minimum. The problem is that even though the Panzer's IRS-2IE radar is excellent at tracking aerial targets, its predictive interception software becomes useless when the targets move chaotically. The system attempts to compute 12 independent interception paths for drones that vanish and reappear unpredictably. The missiles fly toward where the radar predicts the drones will be, not where they actually are. The 20-kilogram tungsten rod warheads burst in midair, weaving lethal patterns of shrapnel through empty sky. An expensive fireworks show worth millions, without a single hit. Now comes the last line of defense. The twin-2 A38M autocannons of the Panzer have exactly 19 seconds to lock on. But the fire control computer, designed for predictable trajectories, is useless against the programmed chaos of the swarm. On their monitors, the operators watch the target markers flicker non-stop, unable to achieve stable lock. 7 seconds remain. They switch to manual aim. A burst of 30mm fire tears through the night air and hits nothing. 3 seconds. The lead drone has already selected its target. The shaped charge warhead strikes at 4:16:22, piercing the ABT-6 crude distillation unit. And this is only the opening strike. 3 more drones hit in a rapid 1.5-second sequence, obliterating the adjacent AT-6 unit. Paralysis is immediate. Half the refinery's capacity, 170,000 barrels per day, goes offline in under a minute. The heart of the complex becomes a chemical inferno that will burn for days. And 8 drones are still in the air. As the inferno consumes the refinery, the Russians believe they are ready for Phase 2. They are not. At 18 kilometers, a reinforcement column is moving into the area, led by a Thor M2 system, the deadliest drone hunter in its arsenal. Its crew has been tracking the 8 remaining Loot-GR drones for 6 minutes, expecting they will attempt a second strike against the burning plant. The Thor's commander is confident his system can engage 4 targets simultaneously, even on the move. These drones should not be able to close the distance. But at 4:19, something strange happens. 4 of the drones break their holding pattern and accelerate, not toward the refinery, but straight at the convoy. The Thor's identification system throws a priority alert that changes everything. This is not a missile alert. It is an impossible contradiction. The drones begin to transmit a valid IFF identification friend or foe code recognized by the Russian Air Force. This is what was really happening. Each drone had activated an electronic masking module, Polling 21. That module transmitted a legitimate response to the Russian parole interrogator using a challenge response code that had been stolen 6 hours earlier from a Su-35 during an RC-135 rivet joint operation over the Black Sea. The Thor's computer enters a logical loop. The radar screams threat, but the IFF protocol confirms friend. Under Russian doctrine, the order not to fire at a friendly IFF is absolute. The automatic engagement is disabled for safety. The decision falls to the human commander. He has 7 seconds. The choice is agonizing. Firing on a friendly code is unthinkable. "Hold fire," he shouts. "Verify that signal." Those 7 seconds are the ones doubt steals from him. Enough time. When he finally orders a manual override, the drones have already crossed the 1,500-meter threshold, the minimum arming distance for the 9M331 fuses. The convoy's most advanced defensive system becomes a spectator worth $25 million as 2 drones plow into its command vehicle. One question hits them: where are the rest? The answer arrives like thunder from the rear. The other 4 drones ignored the decoy and now attack an unprotected column of fuel tankers. The Thor M2's great weakness becomes clear. Unlike the Panzer, it has no guns for very close defense. It relies on missiles, which are useless in this scenario. The first drone hits a 9A331M Teller vehicle. Its target, an EFP, explosively formed projectile, warhead. It does not destroy the vehicle outright, but incinerates its electronics. The system goes completely blind and silent. But the true catastrophe unfolds 400 meters behind. The drone's tandem warheads strike the tanker skins. The first charge makes a 10-centimeter hole in the aluminum shell. The second, 20 milliseconds later, injects a thermobaric charge into the aerosolized fuel cloud inside. A 10,000-liter aviation fuel tanker detonates in a chain reaction. 4 fireballs merge into a 2,000 Celsius inferno that consumes oxygen and vaporizes the asphalt. The blast wave reaches the ammunition trucks trailing behind. In the chaos, a soldier manages to fire a man-pads. Its infrared seeker locks onto the hot engine of one of the drones attacking the Thor and disintegrates it 50 meters from impact. It is a momentary victory. The second drone finishes the job. Then, the real trap closes. The fuel fires engulf the ammunition transports. The 2,000-degree heat destabilizes the solid propellant rocket blocks inside their crates. 90 seconds after the initial strike, a massive detonation vaporizes the rest of the convoy. To protect what remains of the refinery, the Russians play their final card. At 4:25, the 4 Loot-G drones preparing to hit the control center go blind. GPS signals vanish and the data links to Kiev die. A mobile electronic warfare unit, Krashuka S4, has just powered up its main antenna. This is not simple jamming. It is a coherent GPS plantation attack, flooding receivers with thousands of phantom signals. The drones switch to inertial navigation, but an inertial system accumulates error. After an 800-kilometer flight lasting nearly 3 hours, the drift in their gyroscopes reaches almost 0.5 degrees. That accumulated error means their impact point can miss by 400 meters, a catastrophic miss. The lead drone enters crisis mode. Its thermal camera finds nothing matching the 3D model of the target. The recognition algorithm fails on each cycle. 40 seconds to impact. The processor devotes all available compute to searching for secondary reference profiles for 25 seconds. The algorithm finds a match, not on the cold concrete structure it seeks, but in the residual heat of the burning refinery. 3 vent stacks burning at 400 degrees Celsius form a unique thermal triangle, an artificial constellation. Using that signature as a beacon, the drone triangulates its real position and corrects the error. It locks the target to within 2 meters, but the Krashuka S4's interference is total. The other 3 drones continue toward failure. Still, one drone has a final card to play. Laser communications, impossible to jam with radio interference. Krashuka S4 floods the radio spectrum, but it is blind to a focused beam of light. The drone deploys a gimbaled laser emitter aimed at its companion's receivers. For 0.2 seconds, an invisible beam transmits a 32 kb data packet, the exact coordinates derived from the thermal constellation, and a synchronized impact time. The other 3 drones receive the light pulse. Their flight computers correct the 400-meter error instantly. At 4:26, 4 warheads strike the control center from different directions. The Krashuka S4 crew watches in horror as the reinforced concrete building implodes. All safety valves and pressure monitors on the refinery shut down. In a bunker beneath the Kremlin, the National Security Council watches thermal images in silence. The disaster at Kostovo is total. The control center's destruction triggers an uncontrolled emergency shutdown. Safety valves stuck without oversight fail in cascade, causing structural ruptures across the plant. Initial reports estimate the refinery will be out of service for at least 10 months. But the Ukrainian planners did more than attack fuel. They targeted an economic center of gravity. The Kostovo refinery, one of only 4 in Russia capable of producing high-octane aviation fuel, TS-1, vital for strategic bombers, is offline. Its loss not only halts 11% of fuel production, but threatens to ground part of the Air Force. The Kremlin now faces an impossible choice: protect the front or protect its industrial heart. By 5 a.m., the Russian response erupts in fury. Elite units from the MCHS, Ministry of Emergency Situations, converge on Kostovo. A 10-kilometer perimeter is established while TASS reports the event as a technical incident contained. It looks like a show of control, but in an improvised command center, an evacuated chief engineer named Yuri studies plant blueprints and the latest telemetry and sees the obvious pattern. The 4 strikes on the control center were not random. They were surgical. One impact destroyed the main power grid, another the backups. A third annihilated the logical controller of the LPG coolant pumps. The 4th blinded the pressure sensors. Yuri is paralyzed by the implication. The Ukrainians did not merely destroy the plant's brain. They performed a precise lobotomy. The overheating of the LPG sphere was not an unintended consequence. It was the objective. The countdown to the impending explosion was not an accident. It was the true warhead's timer. While MCHS teams fought the flames and the FSB hunted saboteurs in the perimeter, nobody was watching the network. In a cybersecurity bunker of the GUR in Kiev, the mission reached its climax. The drones were the perfect distraction. With physical security systems and firewalls focused on the blaze, a hacking team moved freely through Loyal's internal servers. They were not destroying data. They were copying it. Terabytes of information, military-grade synthetic lubricant formulas, geological surveys of new Siberian fields, dossiers on Russia's top engineers were quietly exfiltrated via a compromised satellite link. The value of the intellectual property being stolen far exceeded the value of the steel burning in the refinery. Data exfiltration was only half the plan. The GUR team prepared its boldest move: seize control of the Transneft pipeline network and cut supply to other refineries. But in an FSB cybersecurity center in Moscow, an analyst, focused while everyone else chased the physical incident, detected something impossible: a single outgoing data stream masked as telemetry that was too clean and too stable. Using heuristic analysis, he traced a subtle digital signature matching a previous attack. The hackers in Kyiv, believing themselves invisible under the chaos, had grown complacent. The analyst refrained from raising the alarm. Instead, he isolated the compromised server and launched a secret program called Kapkan, a trap. In Kiev, the GUR screens froze. The transfer halted, and a red warning appeared. Intrusion detected. Kapkan, an advanced intruder hunting virus, began to operate. The GUR team activated their final defense, Turber, a countermeasure system designed to wipe and erase. A microsecond cyber battle erupted. Kapkan tried to trace the attack origin, while Turber scrambled to protect and re-encrypt the stolen files. When the process reached 98%, Kapkan broke through the defense and captured the data. Turber then triggered its last resort pulse and wiped everything. In Kiev, the screens blacked out. Russia had been saved by only 1.2 seconds. In the end, 2 aircraft, at a combined cost of $600,000, had brought symbolic annihilation to a $10 billion refinery and vaporized an elite convoy. But the true victory was psychological. The attack on Kostovo, 800 kilometers from the border, demonstrated 2 things. First, there was no rear area any longer. No industrial sanctuary was safe. Second, war was no longer fought solely with missiles and tanks, but with a lethal synchronization of hardware, software, and audacious planning.